Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 98. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching. And as always, I just want to start off by thanking you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our most valuable gift, and the fact that you're willing to invest your time with me truly does mean a great deal. So let's jump in today. I want to share an observation I had. I was presenting to a group of very talented entrepreneurs, and a topic came up that from someone who's very seasoned. And I thought it was really important for us to have this conversation because this person allowed one interaction with one potential client to impact how she was moving forward. And so the conversation really led to, no is not the end unless you allow it to be. No does not define your future success unless you allow it to be. As you can imagine, for me, it's really important for us to look at the thoughts you're having around no, because that's going to continue to create future results. But I do want to talk about these 7 points along with thoughts that could impact your future interactions if you allow one person, one event to define your future. And it can happen, and it can happen in an instant. I know for me, I think back to my earlier days when I was in real estate sales, and I would go on a listing appointment or with a buyer, and I would have a conversation with them. And I was very confident that I was going to get the listing or get the buyer because it was either a referral or someone that I'd met at interaction at a networking party or whatever. I had some interaction. Very rarely did I go on a cold appointment. And the first time someone that was referred to me by a past client or that I had met that told me no was, I think for me, I over-exaggerated. It was a moment that I allowed to interfere with my next couple of transactions or transaction opportunities that were coming up. I can remember thinking, okay, oh my gosh, if this person who came to me via a referral is willing to say no to me, what's that going to mean for my future business? Are others going to say no? And I just went into this death spiral, if you will, that I was never going to sell another house again. Nobody was ever going to list with me. It was going to become much harder. My business was going to go down and decrease, and I was going to end up working with only buyers, if even that. I mean, I just had all of these stories running. And what I had to realize to pull myself out of that was the number one thing you need to do when that happens is to reframe the rejection as redirection. And really just own that when something doesn't go your way, you might label it as failure or proof you're not good enough. But the reality is it's just a reroute, right? It's just the way that one situation, that one interaction is going to go. And what I learned I always would say this, is that sometimes the best outcomes come from a closed door or come from rejection, because it actually protects you. I always thought to myself, for that transaction that was a no, what was I being protected from? My belief is in God. So I thought to myself, okay, what is God protecting me from? A potential lawsuit, potential issues that I'm totally unaware of at this time. And I would use that as a redirection. I would just simply thank and move forward to the next transaction versus going into that spiral of total rejection and that I'm never going to sell another house again. So the number one thing that I'd recommend you do when you're faced with rejection is to reroute and reframe. It's just a redirection. It's just a no for that one situation. And what are you being protected from? That's the one thing that I love to do when I face a rejection in a business setting or even in a personal setting. That person rejected opportunity to go out for a drink or for friendship or whatever it is. And I think, okay, thanks for protecting me. You know more than I do. Let's move on. So it's a quick redirection. The number two thing that I would recommend you do so you don't go into that spiral is interrupt the story loop. Your brain love certainty, which we've talked about, right? That's, I believe, is our number one basic human needs. And even if that means believing in something negative, like negative certainty, like I'll never sell another house again, nobody wants what I have to offer, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe this just isn't for me. You want to catch that loop in real time. You want to catch it when it's happening. And the quicker that you can, the better it can be. So maybe we just reframe it and we ask ourselves a question, right? Is this a fact or just a feeling that I've repeated so much that it feels true? Think about that for a minute. We get caught in that loop, right? And our brain fires at an unbelievable pace of extracting thoughts to support what's going on and thoughts according to what you really are making it believe. So you're in a negative space, you're going to extract just negative thoughts. But what if it was, hey, this is just a feeling I'm having right now because it feels true to me based upon the story I've created. And so we want to interrupt that story loop. So that is what I would recommend. Your number two thing to do would be is, hey, let's say that story out loud that I've created. I'll never list another house again. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, as your mind is spinning, and rewrite it with more neutral, empowering language. That one potential client just wasn't meant to be for me. A greater good is protecting me from what's happening. That's a pattern interrupt. That's interrupting that loop that you can get going on a different path in a different direction once you just give yourself permission and switch to more empowering language. The next opportunity is going to be better, and I will understand when that happens why I got to know. Just reframe the loop. Number three, which I love, is audit your proof. Our brains are wired for negative bias, right? Meaning we pay more attention to what's going on that's wrong than we do what's right. So think about this, 80% of our thoughts are negative. Of course, we spend more time in the negative, and the negative feels more comfortable to us. So we want to audit our proof because our brain is busy looking for negative things to support our story, right? So if a deal falls through, you might ignore 10 amazing conversations that you had previous to that. Maybe in the last week, 2 weeks, the last month, the last 2 months, whatever it is, you may just totally dismiss all of those and turn your attention to the one negative or disempowering conversation or the one deal that falls through. So instead of letting your emotions collect data, take charge of the evidence pile. I love this, right? So what if I stop treating this one moment as the whole truth? I really like challenging your thoughts, right? What if I stop treating just this one moment? Just this one moment as my truth, because it's not. When you look back at your previous successes, that is not your truth. It absolutely is not. So I like to create what I like to call a proof success or proof bank or proof folder. Back in the day, I would keep a folder of successful things just so I could look at it during times like this. So maybe you put a note in your phone, maybe you journal about it, but you want to collect your wins, your compliments, your breakthroughs. You want to revisit all of those. So, nice text from a client, a testimonial, a handwritten note from a client, whatever it is that you can use for this success bank or this proof of your success bank would be really beneficial at this time to just do an audit. You're so focused on the one thing that if we can pull up some evidence that that one thing is not your truth, it will help you get a different perspective on what's truly, truly possible for you. The number four thing that I would say is a quick fix is to zoom out on your timeline. This kind of goes hand in hand with the previous point, but when you're zoomed in too close to a singular failure, it feels like it's the end of the road. So when you just get into that space, that one client, that one potential deal told me no. But if I zoom back and look at the previous months or even the previous year, I realize that this was just a little blip on the radar screen. It's not the whole screen. And it's not the final note. It's not the final blip. It's just one little blip. Building anything meaningful includes bumps in the road, includes blips on the radar screens, pivots, plateaus, all of that stuff. And the moment might feel permanent, but trust me when I say it never, ever is. I think a lot of times when we allow that one event to really hold a lot of power over us, it's because we don't have a strong pipeline in our favor. So a bit of scarcity mindset happens. So if I don't have any other business in my near future and I go on an appointment and I lose that, it is way, way more impactful than if I lost it, but I have 5 more opportunities waiting for me or 10 more opportunities waiting for me. So I believe that sometimes when we have that reaction and we want to take a step out and zoom back a little bit further, if you had or have a healthy pipeline, it certainly improves the speed in which or the level of devastation that you experience because you know you got future business. This was just one deal. And I think that is one of the most important things that you can do as a salesperson. I coach all of my one-on-one clients to have a 30, 60, and 90-day plus pipeline report and to visit it all of the time because it really does great things for your brain. When you do get a no, or something falls apart, or a buyer terminates, or the person that committed to buying your product from you buys it from somebody else, you won't allow it to sit as long with you because you know you've got another opportunity right around the corner. So I like to just immediately 30, 60, 90-day pipeline, go and look and say to myself, where do I want to be in 90 days? What's my goal in 90 days? I've got to take it from this bigger picture to a shorter beginning and end. You know, I've talked about having a 90-day sprint and my love for that. So take a quick look at where do I want to be in the next 90 days? How does this current situation serve my bigger vision? What if I can't see it yet? I can create it. And that's what I love about a 90-day chunk of time is you can create what you want that vision to look like. So just take a moment, right? Remember, this isn't the final destination, right? It's just a detour. So create that 90-day timeline, look at where you want to be, and start looking at your pipeline, reinforcing the evidence that you've got more business coming your way. The fifth thing is if you find yourself, and this could happen, again, I believe it happens when we don't have a healthy line of business in front of us, we might become a little victim-y and we might be like, oh my gosh, why me? Why did this happen to me? What now? What am I going to do now? And those two things, one is disempowering and one is empowering. The why me is extremely disempowering. It gives away all of your energy. But the what now reclaims that and allows you to create what you want next. So why me happens and it creates and focuses blame, shame, maybe some helplessness versus what now, which activates your frontal cortex of your brain, that executive decision center of your brain, and it makes you return to your creative self. It puts you in a creator role about exactly what you want now. It takes you out of that why. Why is this happening? Which is all focused on a lot of negative. Now, I'm not saying that there's not some great data held for us in the failure. I say this all the time. Some of our best lessons are in the failure. However, holding onto a why me mindset is really, really disempowering. So just think about it. What now? What now? Tie that into your 90 days. Tie that into your pipeline. If I have a healthy pipeline, I'm going to look and go, okay, what now? These are the 3 people that I have that have already committed to do something in the next 30 days. That's what's now. I'm going to shift my attention to those people and continuing to move forward while I look for future business for 60, 90-day plus. That becomes my what now. Really, really powerful. So just take a step back and really create what you want it to be. For me, that was probably one of the best gifts I've ever given myself is to always have a map in front of me. So I know what now when my brain wants to go into victim mode. Why me? Why me? Why me? I mean, I've been there, team. I've been there where I want to have more people in my group coaching programs. And sometimes I'm talking to an audience and I might only get 1 or 2 people out of the 30 people that raise their hand and join. And I might move to that victim mode. Why me? Everybody else I see on Facebook, all of my peers are filling up their group programs. Why me? Why me? And when I pull myself out of that by simply asking myself, what now? It changes everything. My what now in that situation is go back and analyze the data of when I offered this group program and I had great success. Who were the attendees? What did I do? What did I present? How many times did I close on it? What did I do differently than I did this last time? That is my what now. And that is the quickest way for me to pull myself out of that poor victim, why me mentality, which will cut you off at the knees. So just really sit and reflect and think about what now? What's next? The number 6 thing that we must do is work on our emotional recovery muscle. All right. So we admire people who we feel are very resilient, right? You look at somebody, you think, my gosh, they've been knocked down so many times. I've heard their stories, yet they just get up and they keep showing up and they keep showing up. And that's the secret. It's not if you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get knocked down. The question becomes, how fast are you going to get back up? What are you going to do to pull yourself back up? I know for some people, a no can be so devastating. It can be ego, it can be insecurity, it can be lack of resources and funds, it can be the one thing you had to hold on to, and you get knocked down. And you've got to make the decision about bouncing back and learning what to do when that happens. It's like any other muscle. When you build that resilience, emotional recovery muscle, you bounce back so much quicker. So I've accepted the fact that I'm going to be told no a lot. And I'm really okay with that because in my perception, the person saying no is somebody that I shouldn't be in business with. I may not know why, goes back to point number 2. I may not know why, yet there is a reason that they have said no. It's not always me. Or there is a reason somebody canceled a membership or somebody decided to go a different direction. My emotional recovery muscle is so strong because I have a constant view of my future. It's that pipeline. It's what do I have in the future that I feel financially solid about and that I can lean into to recover from the no much quicker. I was early on in my real estate business that I accepted the fact that I couldn't do anything to change my 30 days that were in front of me. I really can't. In real estate and a lot of sales, what we do today doesn't impact us for 60, 90, 120 days plus. And as soon as I released that and started focusing on 60, 90, 120 and kept that focus there and built that huge pipeline of potential identified future business. When a no happened, I recovered much quicker. In the beginning, when I didn't have that, the no held me down longer. This is a mindset thing. If you're going to do one thing to strengthen your emotional recovery muscle, it is to have a really solid business. And you might be in a place right now where you don't. And you might be like, hey, that's really easy for you to say. The market's down. We start having that story. The reality is you can make it be whatever you want it to be. And if you focus on the future and just focus on and believe that your activities are going to build that future for you, the no's don't sting as much and you recover so much faster because you know exactly how you're going to get back up and what you're going to do to get back up. It's really one of the best gifts I gave to myself. That happened, I think, in my second year of real estate. I started real estate back in 01 in March, and then we had the event in the United States happen, the horrible event of 9/11, and I experienced my first recession or shifting market. And my right now was really impacted. I think everybody's right now was really impacted. And I sat with my mentor and coach at the time and talked about it. And that's when I had the aha moment of let's just build the future. If I build that, I've got something to look forward to and I've got something to move to. And if I get a no, I get a no because I have got a future bank built. One of the best gifts that I gave myself was doing that. And it took pressure off of me and it allowed me to fill that pipeline much, much easier because I wasn't under this pressure and my clients didn't feel that pressure from me of, oh my gosh, we got to buy this house. We got to sell this house. We got to do this. We got to do that. They felt like I really was working with them and it took so much stress off of me. The last thing that I would say to do, and this is really important, this goes back to the thoughts, right? Thoughts drive all results, is go back to the inner conversation. The most damaging part of losing a transaction or a deal is not the loss, it's what you're telling yourself afterwards. We are really hard on ourselves, and we have this incredible gift of negative self-talk to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to one of our peers like that. If a peer came to us and said, "Hey, I lost this transaction for the exact same reasons you just lost a transaction," we most likely would never have the conversation with them that we would have with ourselves. And we do this in an instant. So instead of going to war with yourself, right, instead of talking to yourself in a very demeaning way, what if you talk to yourself like a mentor or a coach? What if you just took a step back and said, okay, this is a really good friend of mine in the same industry that has come to me and shared this situation, the exact same situation that I am in? What would I say to them? What would my dialogue be to them? And if we use that dialogue on ourselves, it can change things in an instant. So, team, as you know, I say this all the time: thoughts drive all results. All of this, where a no debilitates you or a no really derails you for a while, is strictly because of what's going on in your mind. So, number one thing is just reframe the rejection as redirection. Number two, interrupt that story loop as quickly as you can. Get out of that loop of this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I should go do something else. I'm never going to sell another house again. Number three, audit your proof. Create that success bank. I love being able to look at previous successes, what people have said to me, encouraging words, thank you notes, beautiful text messages, post on my social media page, a client sending me a note that because of a conversation we had, they've had a breakthrough. I keep that with me because you do get kicked every once in a while. And that audit of my proof, that future success bank, is the one thing that'll take me out of it in a heartbeat. The other thing, zoom out on the timeline, go look at your previous 10 successes. Don't just use that one kick as your truth, as your defining moment. Get out of number 5, get out of the why me. It happens and it happens quickly, but get out of it as quickly as it happens and shift to what now? It's like, okay, that happened. What now? It is immediately taking the power back from the why me and putting it into what now. It is an immediate shift of control and energy. Number 6, work on that recovery muscle. Just know it's not if you're going to get kicked or knocked down, it's going to do it. So just be ready and have that muscle ready to pull you out of it. Have these resources available so you can recover and get back up as quickly as you can. And then number 7, just really work on your internal conversation, that internal dialogue, because thoughts drive all results. So go back to the story that I started with. The person that I was speaking with had not experienced failure very much in the past. And this one person that said no to them really derailed them, and it derailed them on their next appointment. And they had an appointment coming up that they were convinced the same thing was going to happen. And from a thought flow model perspective, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and energy to actions and results. So thoughts create feelings, emotions, and energy. Those feelings, emotions, and energy impact the actions we take or don't take, which ultimately give us our results. This person was going into that next appointment with the feeling, emotional, and energy of, I'm going to get rejected. They're going to tell me no because this is a condition of the market. This is just what's happening right now in the market, and I'm going to get more no's than yeses. Well, guess what happened? They were right. They were getting more no's because that's where they were putting their energy and attention. So really, really work on that internal dialogue and really concentrate on the thoughts that you're having and the energy that you're creating. Because this person, like a lot of us in sales, even though she was having crummy thoughts, crummy feelings, and energy, she was still taking action. But that action was from a place of bad energy, a bad feeling, bad emotion, which was getting her negative results. So those 7 things can be a game changer for you. No is not the end unless you allow it to be. So like everything else, team, if you got a question about this or you really struggle with this, if you're in a bad spot, all you have to do is reach out to me, tony@rethinkcoaching.com. That's my email. It'll come directly to me. Request the link to the free 1-hour strategy session. It's free. It's with me. I'll get you taken care of. We can talk about this or anything else. You can go to our website, rethinkcoaching.com. You can fill out the little questionnaire with your name, your email, your phone number for the free strategy call. That also comes to me and I'll get back to you. You can find me on all of the social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even TikTok. So there is no reason why you should be stuck or feeling frustrated. Just reach out. I will be here to help you and support you. All right, can't wait to talk to you next week. Go make it a great one. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.